Strength training is the fountain of youth. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, we greatly appreciate it. If you aren't following or subscribed, please do so and drop me a comment down under the video. I would appreciate that also. Thank you so much. All right, over to the topic. This is pretty well accepted by researchers, by doctors and things at this point. We have pretty much ridiculous amounts of data showing that a lot of aspects of the aging process are reversed by strength training. Now, am I telling you that it's going to make you immortal or it's going to add 57 years to your life or anything? No, it's not what we're talking about. But what we are talking about is quality of life later in life. Yes, it is likely to reduce your all-cause mortality. It will probably extend your life. But what we're really and truly looking at is when you're 40, 50, 60, 80 years old, what's the quality of your life look like? And strength training is absolutely enormous. And I'm saying that as someone who at the age of 48, doing what I do, I definitely notice the benefits here compared to my contemporaries, my cousins, my old high school buddies, other people. Oh yeah. It is a night and day difference in terms of my ability to function, my quality of life, my blood work, my, discomfort level. And that's already just at 48, guys. This is in the 40s. This is way before we get to 60, 70, 80 years old. And I think one of the best anecdotes I remember years ago, and I love to use this before we even look at any of the data or discuss research. You guys remember Jack LaLanne? From the 1950s, he was the first fitness influencer. Obviously, the internet didn't exist, but he was on black and white TV. Okay, black and white TV, like before we even had color. Doing these little things was the original fitness guru. And I'm not saying all of his diet advice was the best. He pushed the juicers and everything. He wanted everyone to juice everything. But that was kind of his little marketing thing. But I guess it was a drink healthy drinks, I suppose. But he lifted weights religiously. And when he was asked, like in his 80s, he was in his 80s, and he was asked, what did he feel was the exercise key to longevity? And he said the deadlift. Okay, and exercise that so many people are scared of, but that man at like 85 or 86 years old said, I attribute the deadlift to my longevity and my ability to function and have a strong back and to not need a walker. I mean, that's a powerful statement. That is a powerful statement. Because think about your grandparents now. Think about some of your grandparents at 70 years old pushing around a walker or having to have a cane. That man was walking around in his 80s, fit, probably one of the healthiest human beings on earth, walking around fit, active. He swam the English Channel like at 90 years old. Of course, he died in his 90s of pneumonia, unfortunately, rest in peace. We all have to pass of something. But man, he was like 90 years old though and still killing it. And he was like, yeah, the deadlift, it kept my back strong. Okay, so what do we mean with some of that? Is that true? And the answer is yes. When we look at all the data, load-bearing exercises. So we talk about strength training. I do mean strength training. I don't mean always sitting down on a machine, isolating stuff. I own some machines. I like them. I believe in some machines. But it's those load-bearing movements, the strength training, like the squatting, the deadlifting, the standing exercises with big weights. Why? They build bone density. They stop osteoporosis, they stop osteoarthritis. Okay, it's kind of a big deal, guys. And again, doctors are telling you the same thing. They're like, you can build bone density and slow that way down. I mean, and in my case, I had a DEXA scan, and my bone density around early 40s came back as like 4th or 5th standard deviation above average. Or like your bone density is insane. Like, and you're at an age where people are losing their bone mineral density already, and yours is like insane. Well, I'm squatting 500 pounds at the time. Kind of matters. So, that is a big deal. Because that is, you think about the hip fractures and all this stuff. This offsets that. Absolutely offsets that. But that's just talking about the structural stuff and needing a walker or cane. But then we get into sarcopenia. How much of death later in life is sarcopenia related? Loss of muscle tissue. Okay, strength training. We build muscle. We build muscle. It's a big deal. Again, the ability to get up and function and move. The ability to move still and to pick yourself up or to be able to lift things. Big deal. Tons of data on that also, offsetting sarcopenia. But then we come over to the other stuff. What about the muscle mass and all the other health markers? Glucose disposal, all right, cardiovascular health markers, helps with all that. But really, let's look at the glucose disposal. That's a big one, because if we think about aging, stop and think about blood sugar, insulin response, blood sugar response, how our body disposes of and deals with glucose. Okay? Think about that from the aging process. Right? Being like a type 2 diabetic ages you faster. It ages your cells. Lifting weights improves all of that. It almost can cure and prevent type 2 diabetes to some extent. I mean, unless you get really fat. But that whole glucose disposal, lifting weights, your body processes insulin and glucose much better, has better glucose disposal. All right, we're going to jump to a big one. Cancer. All right, pretty big deal. Cancer ravages older people. Big part of it, obviously, cellular damage happening. More of continually replicating cells, genetic damage. Massive deal in terms of cancer. But cancer cells have a high insulin sensitivity. They suck up glucose. They suck up blood sugar. Muscle cells, and this is what the researchers realized, muscle cells compete with tumors for food. All right? So think about the strength training and the muscle gain when you start getting up into older age where cancers become more and more common, especially because of genetic damage from aging, right? The more muscle you have, the easier your body fights off tumors because of the fact that the muscles literally compete with cancer cells for their food source. All right? It sounds like a minor deal at first. You're like, oh, okay, a little better glucose disposal, until you realize you're creating a competition between the cancer and your muscles. And the more muscle you have, the easier your body can fight that tumor off because of that. It can starve the tumor easier. Wow. Anyone who's lost a loved one, an older loved one to cancer, they're listening right now. I got your attention. I'd say that's one of the biggest ones right there. That is the big one. At least for me, I've lost loved ones to cancer. I've seen it. So again, it's the fountain of youth. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.